Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Melanin Survivors. I am your host Irene Smith, and I just want to start off by saying I am truly sorry about today. We had so many technical issues yesterday that I couldn't even go live, and I was very disappointed that I couldn't go live with you guys yesterday. So I was determined to go live today. I was supposed to go live at 3 o'clock, but I had to run out because one of my lights went out, so I had to go run out and grab a light. So it's just been that kind of weekend. So I just want to say hello to everybody. Hey, bro, how you doing? Again, this is Pink Melanin Survivors. It's my live podcast. Oh, thank you. It's my live podcast for my breast cancer journey. And I have a few surprises to talk about, so a few things to talk about. So today our topic is my reaction or your reaction. I really want my viewers to engage with me, because sometimes I just feel like I'm just talking amongst myself, and I really would love for my viewers to engage with me, so that I can talk back and forth with you guys. You know what I mean? Like it's so much easier. So if you guys do not know, I am live on Instagram and Facebook. I am trying to get my YouTube up. I'm trying to get another device so that I can also go live on YouTube and also on TikTok. Because, TikTok, I have a little bit more of a following. But, you guys, just share these lives. Please, just get the word out there that, this is for women of color that is battling breast cancer, that has survived breast cancer, and that even, has been affected in any type of way of breast cancer. So that's what this podcast is for. I just want to, encourage, uplift, have some fun, and, educate women of color about breast cancer and why early detection and screening is important. So far I've just been talking amongst myself, or talking about my personal experience with breast cancer. And surprisingly, when I look at the feedback and the numbers, it's being received very well. So I thank you all. Thank you. But again, please just share, or anybody even if they're not a breast cancer survivor, just get the word out, because even if you're not impacted by breast cancer, it's important to know the steps that you need to take, because it's not just for women, it's also for men, and I know a lot of people don't talk about that, but I also want to do a segment, for men, like what are the steps that men need to take as far as getting screened and tested for breast cancer as well. So that's pretty much, what this podcast is about. Also, I am actually going to be doing the podcast, just not live, but on Anchor. Hopefully I can get it up on Spotify soon. So I've been doing a lot of recording of just, reiterating what I've been doing on my live feed. It's just a little bit more detailed. I try to get detailed in here, but then sometimes social media acts a little funky, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm done. So with that being said, I have a topic today. Again, like I said, my topic today is my thoughts on what was my thinking process during my diagnosis, when I got diagnosed. So again, for those who do not know, and for those who are just joining in, again, I am Irene Smith. I am the creator of Pink Melanin Survivors, and I was diagnosed December 26, 2013. Merry Christmas to me. That's all I could think of at that time. And, I was numb. So, just a quick, replay of, I found out I was at work, and my doctor called me while I was at work, and told me to come in. She got the results of my test, and it came out that I had stage 2 breast cancer. And I was given this big old binder full. I'm going to find that binder. I said that the last time, that I was going to find that binder, and I didn't do it yet, but I got to go downstairs and look in the depths of whatever else in the basement. But I have to find that binder. It was this big old binder that had all the doctors, that had all the help you can get. I mean, it was just pages of stuff. And anyway, so she gave me this binder, and we discussed what the next steps of treatment was going to be. Like, what are we going to do? What is the action plan going to be as far as, dealing with this diagnosis? So again, like I said, I personally was numb. Like, I really did not know what to think at that time. And, thinking back right now, it's kind of hard to think back because everything happened so fast. Everything happened so fast that some of the stuff I don't remember, or I can't remember. It's like I kind of blocked everything out. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I blocked everything out. I just didn't want to think about it. And when I was diagnosed, the only thing I could think about was, I don't have time for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's bad when you sit up here and be like, I don't got time for cancer. Who got time for this? Because I don't got time for it. I knew I didn't have time for it. I got 3 kids, and at this time, they weren't teenagers yet. I had a preteen, and I had twin little boys. Like, who has time for this? They were 9 and 11 years old at this time. I don't have time to be dealing with cancer. And that was my whole thought process. So the doctor was telling me, like, look, boom, this is what we're going to do, Miss Smith. The first plan of action was, I'm just going to get a lumpectomy. Okay, fine. So January, she's like, this is going to happen January 11th. I remember these days because guess what? It's in my birthday month. January 11th, I was scheduled for a lumpectomy. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because more tests were taken or were done, and here we go. There's another lump in my breast. Okay, so now we're scheduled. Now I have to make this decision of, you have to get a mastectomy, but now I have to make the decision of, am I getting a single mastectomy, or will I be getting a double mastectomy? Bilateral, technical terms, bilateral mastectomy. I forgot the technical term for the single, but I believe it's just a single mastectomy. I personally didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. And like I said last podcast, because last week we weren't on, but last podcast I said that I had spoken to my cousin Jonathan Frazier, and he gave me the advice that it's best that you get the double mastectomy. So I opted for that, in which I call it the Angelina Jolie. I was like, yeah, when I went to the doctor, I was like, you know what, doc, I think I'm going to go for the Angelina Jolie process, procedure, and I got a bilateral mastectomy, which, I actually think I did great. So I also had the option of getting reconstruction with my mastectomy. So I had a plastic surgeon that I was going to, and he's awesome, very, very, very good doctor. I personally enjoyed having him as a doctor. I'm actually scheduled to see him again, and I'm going to fast forward to why I'm going to see him again. So, or I might just make that another episode. And I think I just might do that. So, I'm going to just write that down real quick, you guys. So, anyway, John Saunders. There we go. So, I opted for the bilateral mastectomy. And that day, and I'm working, and that date came, and it was 2 days before my birthday. Y'all, happy birthday to me. Like, really, how lucky can a girl get? How lucky can a girl get? You get a Christmas present, and then you get your boobs removed for your birthday. Child, let me tell y'all, I was salty. But, I can't be too upset because, it was the right thing to do. And so, like I said, I had the option to get reconstruction, and that's what I chose, a bilateral mastectomy with reconstruction. So the thought process of everything, again, was I don't have the time to deal with all of this. I forgot to turn that down, but honey. Listen. Hold on, guys. Let me turn this down. That is my my notification. So if you guys heard that, honey, she agrees with me every single time. Every time. So the thought process of being diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. 1, I did not have the time for this. I have 3 kids that I'm taking care of. I'm going to end up, I just moved. Like, I literally just moved into a house. So how am I going to be able to afford, the rent at that time? Like, how am I going to how am I going to afford the rent? I didn't know. And it was so many things just coming at me. And you're like, what's going to, like, I don't know what to do. No one knows what to do when, when they're, diagnosed or when you're put in these certain situations. And I clearly did not. And as you guys know, if you've watched the podcast before, cancer runs deep in our family, and I've seen it, but I've never experienced it as the person on the other end. So, and I was a child. So when you're a child, you don't pay attention to the logistics of everything, like the little odds and ends, like the inside of everything, like the details, like the rent, the bills, the cart, like you don't pay attention to that because you're just a kid. So when I was experiencing this cancer with my family, my family members who have passed on, you don't think, like, you're just like, okay, as a kid, what are bills? Nobody has bills. Not like, what is that? I know my mom works and she pays stuff, but you don't think, how expensive is this stuff? Then you got medical bills and all of this other stuff. Like, so as an adult now on the receiving end, having to think about all this, it was mentally draining. It was mentally exhausting. And yes, I had my mother and my sister and my support team, but you don't want to be a burden. And I think that's where I was with everything. I think that the whole entire time that I, like, this entire journey and the diagnosis was, I don't want to be a burden on people. And am I a burden on my mother and my sister? They had their own lives to live. My sister had her 2 children. I had to leave my house. I had to leave my home, like, because I'm not saying it's a landlord's obligation to be sympathetic to your situation, but they got bills too, and I was a little bitter with my landlord at the time because they knew I was going through this and not going through the actual treatment. They didn't know the diagnosis, but they knew I was getting tests done. And then I did eventually tell them, like, look, this is what's going on. I have to get surgery. If you can wait while I wait for Social Security to kick in and whatnot. And I promise I will pay you. I can just pay you what I have so far from my FMLA, whatever I get from unemployment. This is what I can give you. Nope. That wasn't happening, and I eventually had to leave the home. But looking back now, it was better that way because the house that I that area, which was a very nice area that I lived in, ended up turning to be very dangerous for my children. When I think back on it and when I look back on, where that area is now, it's now a dangerous area. But with that said, I moved in with my mom and my sister, and they were, it was amazing. I mean, what can you expect? I've always, it's always been us. So it was nothing new. The children, it was just like, okay, we just went about our regular routine while I recovered from my surgery. So for my surgeries, that's what I did. But the whole thought process, the whole entire time, I kept saying to myself, I'm a burden. I don't want to be a burden on these people. And I know they're just my family and they're not just regular people, but they have their lives to live too. And now here I am disrupting what they have going on. And they have to rearrange their lives to accommodate me and 3 children. That's a bit much. And I know they really, they don't think of it like that, but that's how I was thinking. And that's how anybody would think when you have to stay with people, or when something happens and you have to live here and you have to live there. You feel as though you're a burden, you're disrupting their lives, and that's how I felt the entire time that I was with them, because after my mastectomy, the only thing I could think of was, you got to get back to work. So I'm thinking after this, I can go back to work. You hear so many stories of people like, oh yeah, I went back to work right after my mastectomy. I went back to work right after, or while I was doing my chemo treatments and everything. And not knowing that every situation is different. Everybody's body is different, and that's what I did not expect. My body did not respond well to a lot of stuff. So when it came to the treatments, did not respond well. I was constantly in the hospital. I was allergic to a few chemo treatments, and it just wasn't, in the cards for me to go back to work. So what I thought was only going to be a few months turned out to be an 8-year thing, being with my mother and sister, because my body had to heal on its own. And that took a toll on me, because I felt as though I wasn't independent. I wasn't independent or I wasn't independent, or I wasn't strong enough to fight this battle and do things on my own. I was more dependent on my mom and my sister because it was convenient for me as well as them, but it was more convenient for me because while I'm going to the doctors and while I'm going to therapies, or if I'm in and out the hospital, it was just easier for me to stay with them because boom, the kids are right here and we already had a routine. And I always felt bad about that. I always felt bad about it. I still feel bad about it because, like I said, they had to stop what they were doing in order to make sure my children were okay when I'm in the hospital or if I'm at the doctor's. Thank God the kids were in school most of the time. But when they weren't in school or at night, I'm in the hospital, I couldn't help that. But as a mother and as an individual, you don't want to put yourself on others. And that was my thought process of why I said I did not have time. I don't have time for cancer. I don't have time for cancer. Didn't. And it really, put a wrench in everything that I planned. Not that we're supposed to plan anything, everything happens for a reason. And I'm not saying cancer happened to me for a reason, but then you never know. I wouldn't have this platform. And who's to say if anybody else would have created this platform? And let me tell y'all, I've been looking and I've seen so many platforms about women of color and breast cancer, and it's amazing. And I can only strive and hope to be as big as these other platforms that is here for women of color, so, but yeah, that was my that was my thought process. I didn't have time, and I was a burden, like, to anyone who is, impacted or dealing with breast cancer. Was that your thought process? Like, it's a shame that you can't, you get ill and the first thing you think of is, I can't do this because I got to worry about what other people, what about other people's situations? Till this day, like, I have Crohn's disease as well, and when I have a flare up, I can't send myself to the hospital right then and there when I know my flare-ups are bad. I can't send myself to the hospital. I got to make sure, okay, boom, is this paid off? Okay, are the kids okay? Will they be okay while I'm in a hospital for a whole week? It's bad when you have to think of those things before you can actually help yourself medically. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I felt at that time when I was diagnosed. How am I going to do this? How am I going to support my family? How am I going to support my children? What are the next steps? Your mind is just never like, okay. And it's always on the go. And I end up having a mental breakdown because within the last 8 years, 7.5, 8 years, I did have to go to a few therapists, like, especially in 2018. 2018, I was at the lowest of my lowest ever. And I talked about that a few episodes ago, where I was at the lowest of my lowest, and I was in a deep depression. And I went to a therapist, and it was funny because the therapist told me something that I never even thought, that after I lost my breast, I just went into survivor mode. And I really think that's what we all do. We go into survivor mode, and we don't have time to process and mourn what we lost. And I didn't have time to process that I lost a part of me, my breast, that I lost a part of me that has been with me since I can remember. You know what I'm saying? So, and sometimes I do still mourn that. I go on and I look at, I go on fashion pages and I see like how women look in clothing, and again, I'm not saying that our breasts are here for physical. They're here for a purpose. They are here to feed our babies. They are here to feed our children, because I'm okay. My kids are teenagers. They're grown. I don't, that's fine. But as a woman, when you want to look a certain way or feel a certain way, and this is probably just me and maybe a certain percent of women who feel this way, but your breasts do bring out the sexy in you, and every woman wants to feel sexy, and sometimes I do want to feel sexy, and but that's what my thought process was at that time. Where do I go from here? I don't want to be a burden. I haven't mourned, the loss of a part of me. That's what it is. I haven't mourned the loss of me. And I went straight into survivor mode. So that's what today's topic is about, and it's something, and I really want to hear from my viewers who are battling breast cancer or who has survived breast cancer. Are you on the same page? What were your thoughts when you were diagnosed? That's what I thought. A lot of people ask me, did death ever occur to me, as being one of my thought processes? And I said no, because I'm a strong believer. Positive thinking gives you positive results. And let me tell you, throughout my entire journey, I looked just like this. I looked exactly like this, unless I was very, very ill and I did not have the energy to get myself together. I painted my own eyebrows on. I always like makeup. I painted my own eyebrows on with the pencil stick. My eyebrows look just like this. And I still color them in because they're very thin now. I barely have eyebrows. They're there, but I barely have eyebrows. So I put them on in. I don't go to the salon. I just draw it right on in, and this is what you have. This is what I had to learn how to do. I had to learn how to, I mean, I've always liked my hair done. I always wore wigs and stuff like that. So picking out a wig was nothing. That was easy to me because I'm sorry, I don't like the wigs that the cancer center gives you. It just looks like a wig. I want my hair to look like my hair, and that way people didn't know what I was going through. Okay, unless I told them what I was going through, you would never know. This is what Irene Smith was going through. So yeah, that's what today's topic was about. And now I just had another question for everybody before we go, because I have 5 more minutes on here. I try to keep it at 30 minutes. Again, I apologize for not being on yesterday. So usually my viewers that are on here, I'm pretty sure they're not, but for the viewers that have tuned in, I truly appreciate you, and I really want you guys to share these lives. I really want you to share this page. I even have a Pink Melanin support group for women that are actually battling cancer and survive cancer in active treatment. So if you look up Pink Melanin Survivors, there is the page and there is the Facebook group. So please get the word out there, you guys. But I also have this question to ask. What do you guys think about Pink Melanin Survivor merchandise? I really thought about it. I had at least 10 people, I want to say 10, 10 people ask me if my logo, if there's a shirt for this logo. And at the time I said no. And then I started really thinking about it. And if anybody is interested in, interested in buying merchandise off of, just getting merchandise to support Pink Melanin, hit me up in any of my inboxes or on my Pink Melanin Survivor email, which is pinkmelaninsurvivors@gmail.com. So if you guys are interested in merchandise, I'm going to try to make something happen, and I will let you guys know. But again, like I said, to the 10 people that has already inquired about purchasing merchandise, I will let you know. I just want to know if that is something everybody is interested in. I have a few people that I am going to hit up and talk to see if we can make that happen. But if you are interested in receiving t-shirts, let me know, and I will talk to you and give you a price once I figure out how I'm going, once I figure out all the details. And I will be looking forward to everybody supporting Pink Melanin Survivors. But again, I ask that you please share and get this page out. I'm going to need, all the supports as I can. And also, not even just about that, just inbox me anyway. Hit my page up and just let me know, how am I doing? What do you guys expect? Or what would you like to see? What would you like to hear? What topic should I talk about? I already have a list of topics that I am going to be discussing, but if there are any other topics that you would like to hear on this live podcast, because I really do like to engage with my viewers and my followers, and that's something that I really want this to be. I don't always want it to be serious, okay? Even though breast cancer is a serious thing, it's a serious disease, but it's not something that I want this page. I want it to be fun. I want to interact. I want it, to be educational. So please don't be afraid to email me or inbox me. Again, email me at pinkmelaninsurvivors@gmail.com and inbox me on my Pink Melanin Survivor page on Instagram and Facebook, and just let me know, what do you guys would like to, what would you guys like to see, and what topics that you would like to hear or talk about on this page. Again, make sure you share. Look for the Facebook group, Pink Melanin Survivors. If you know anybody who is battling breast cancer, who is a survivor, please direct them either to me and I will add them to the page, or to the group. Share this page, please. Please share, and that's all I can say. And again, thank you all for joining Pink Melanin Survivors. I will be on next week at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Saturdays are the days that I go on. Saturday at 7 p.m. I will see you all. Everyone have a blessed Sunday. Peace, love, and blessings. Bye-bye.